So powerful. I think it is one of the most, if not the most powerful monthly gathering of Christians in the state, if not in the country, because this is broadcast all over the place. I want to say thank you to all of you that tuned out the noise of the media this last year and a half, that went to work, that registered voters, that chased ballots, that got your friends to go vote. You know, we have not gathered since what happened in November and of course a couple weeks ago. And I want all of you to just kind of take a moment and rejoice and say, you know what, you played a role in taking back this country and saving this country for your kids and your families. Arizona, best performing swing state of all the 7 swing states. Biggest improvement of any state, 2020 versus 2024, 5.5-point victory. And you look across the board, guys, it was President Donald Trump's best performance ever in the state of Arizona, 2016, 2020, 2024. And for those of you that maybe got some criticism in your local church, had some people say, oh, why are you getting involved in this? Now you can say, well, let me kind of go through the list. In just the last couple of weeks, we have a president that is doing so much that the left can't even remember all the reasons they're mad. You can't keep up with them. It's going at Trump speed. Let's just go through the list. Pardon the pro-life warriors that prayed outside. Rescinded the Mexico City policy. Signed executive order saying no more funding of DEI or CRT in our schools. Declared that there is only male and female. There are no national emergency on the southern border saying we're no longer going to allow the drugs and the crime and the guns to come into our communities here in Arizona. Mobilizing the military to help with that assistance. Also dropping all the federal charges around the whistleblowers that blew the whistle on all the chemical castration. And one of my favorites, President Donald Trump said in his executive order, we are no longer going to allow the butchery of our children under gender-affirming care. A prohibition on this trans nonsense that has been sweeping our schools and going after our kids. And that is just in the last 2.5 weeks. Today, President Donald Trump signed an executive order saying that men will not be allowed to compete in female sports. Now, I know most people are surprised by this because what I have just listed off is just everything he said he was going to do. We're not used to that. We're used to saying one thing and then doing the other. Promises made, promises kept. But especially, let this be a teaching moment to anyone that might be a Christian in your life that either did not vote or they were skeptical about President Trump. You can go back and say, which is it God's purpose or plan for America? Is that kids get butchered in clinics or that it's outlawed? That the pro-life community is stood alongside where we have J.D. Vance speak at the March for Life? Or that we have the most pro-abortion administration in history? All of you can now rest easy and say, you know what? All that work paid off. That our country is improving. We have a lot of work left to go, everybody. There's a lot of work remaining. But in these last 2 weeks, we see this rapid speed of which we are operating. And not to mention, you got Elon Musk doing Elon Musk stuff, just shutting down departments and deleting stuff. Because you guys did not work as hard as you worked. And we did not deliver this mandate just so that we could have more of the same. We wanted a restoration of the power going back to the American people. Now let me close with 2 thoughts, and then I want to introduce our amazing guests here tonight. The first thought is this, is that although we had this amazing victory presidentially, let's be honest, here in Arizona, we especially have a lot of work to do. A little sad sub-note on this celebratory theme is that this state is now one of the most pro-abortion states in the country that passed Proposition 139. Dang. And it's not because of all of you, but the church here in Arizona was largely silent on trying to defeat Proposition 139. We could not get most pastors or most churches to care about speaking out against it. I see so many people here in the audience tonight. Pastor Luke in Dream City were amazing. Pastor Mark from Trinity was amazing. And so many other people spoke out against 139. But if we are honest about bringing people to ultimate purposes, not just them voting correctly, but bringing them to Jesus, which is the most important thing, then we must look honestly and say, why is it that not every church in Arizona spoke out against 139? So let this be, yes, a celebration, but also motivation that we're going to continue to do this work. And the work will start with the most important demographic that moved to the right so significantly. You know, baby boomers moved 2 points to the left, while younger voters moved 15 points to the right. Hard to believe. But it's true. There is a harvest waiting to happen. And the church needs to step up and stand up and realize that Gen Z is the most conservative generation in history, but they're not yet the most Christian generation in history. But they can be, because conservatism can lead you towards Christianity. And the church is just waiting, hopefully, to do something to bring these young people that are curious about ultimate topics and ultimate purposes. They're asking the right questions. What moral code do you live by? What is right? What is wrong? What is a man? What is a woman? What is holy? What is profane? By what standards you operate? What are the 10 Commandments? Is it right to murder? Is it okay to steal? Because what they have been fed is a non-stop diet of materialistic moral relativism. That do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it, and just get as much stuff as you can. And what is the result? The most depressed, suicidal, anxious, alcohol-addicted, and drug-addicted generation in history. When I show up to campuses, we're drawing 5,000, 6,000 students that are interested in these things. But they're not hearing from the local church near enough on this. However, our guests tonight are two incredible people that are reaching Gen Z. And I can tell you right now, I know what it takes to reach the next generation. They are some of the most well-known, followed, and let's just say respected leaders in the Christian space that have been doing this for 40 years. And what an amazing example, by the way, of just doing the right thing, not seeking internet stardom, not doing it just to be famous, and then one night all of a sudden you just kind of go super viral and it kind of cascades. They do a similar version of what I do. How many of you have seen me go to these campuses and debate these kids, right? I do it on all topics, politics and religion, but they go there first and foremost primarily for Jesus, and they'll just hold court. And they'll do it for 3-4 days in a row. That's why they're here in town at Arizona State University. And they'll film it, and these videos will go bonkers on TikTok, and they'll go viral on Instagram. And then I have the question is, why is not every pastor in America doing this on their local college campus in the open air the way Jesus used to? Holding court, taking questions, trying to say, what do you believe? Why do you believe it? Let's go after the truth of the matter. And so this father-son duo, I've got a chance to know over the last couple months. I've seen their impact. I see how they move the dial. And they're very well known, but they've never wanted to be well known, which I think is a perfect example of two people that are servants for God's purposes, that have acted obediently, that want to see this country come back to Jesus. Not just vote the right way, which obviously we care about, but that is only a means to an ultimate end. So join me in welcoming Cliff and Stuart Connected.